When I came in slightly late this morning, I came to my seat and I saw the clock next to it. And morning reflection. And I was already reminded by Ajahn that I needed to do it this morning, but then I forgot again. And it immediately just came to mind, this sort of sense of predictability and predictions, and just assuming that something's going to go a particular way. And I'm a bit late, just go to my seat and then, oh right. And I think it's very easy to to see how we do this. I mean, we just talked about, or we recited this in the Night of Shining Prosperity. Not reviving the past or trying to essentially predict the future, dwell on the future. But it's quite easy to do that. You think about the tasks we've been given today, or Cindy said she's going to make some bread, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the period, the bread's burned, and whatever might happen, it's not always in our control, not how we plan things to be. We go out, Ajahn Kaspo, maybe he and I go out, and instead of splitting a log, I cut off my wrist. And there's, it's easy to see these things, but I think what's important is to really, look at the mind as it's constantly trying to predict the future, and in certain ways, it's important not to be idealistic about this. Like there's an advantage to us using the past and trying to remember, we don't. If we didn't have any memory from the past and we weren't using it for our future, then dealing with the present moment as it unravels would be quite difficult. Not being able to know how to start a car or whatever it might be. But it's that sort of wanting around the future, or wanting something to be a particular way, or expecting it and then being disappointed, that can be quite, it can cause a lot of dukkha, it can cause quite a jarring sense. And I think one thing that's helpful is taking a bit of having a sense of humor around it. Because the amount of times that I've tried to predict something, or even manipulate something, or make it work out, and it turns out like exactly the opposite that I wanted it to be, just because of that way that I was trying to create it in the future. This can be, just like how we imagine talking to somebody, or how we, as I mentioned, think about what we're about to do, what we're going to engage in, or oftentimes like what we're hiding from, what we don't want to do, and how we want to get away from that, and how there can be a bit of a sense of weaseling out of certain things, and it's important to notice that and to kind of open up to the possibilities of what we think is going to actually be uncomfortable and unpleasant. And just see what it's like if we don't try to determine our futures, we don't try to make things turn out just in our benefit, or to meet our particular likes or preferences. And when we do that, we see that there is, actually things usually turn out okay. They're often they turn out much better than if we had planned, predicted, or manipulated a particular situation to kind of fall in with our desires. So it's quite beneficial to allow those that sort of dropping of our future creations, and sometimes it can be hard. Sometimes we can want things so badly to turn out a certain way, to really be in our favor, and it's hard to let go. It's really hard to let go. Even when we know we should let go, it can be really difficult. But we have the potential for it, and then through wisdom we can see that when we do let go, when we are willing to be present with whatever circumstances we find ourselves in, and to try to use our discernment to adjust to that and to really alleviate our own suffering, then we do gain confidence in our experience. We gain confidence in our potential to not take the future as a refuge. And it seems very simple what we're doing, just focusing on the present moment and breathing in, breathing out. But that's just not the case of how it actually works out. The mind just has so many ways, so many just incredible amounts of ways to throw us off track, just because it's really what we're born into, the karma that we have. So just as a note, today just trying to think about that. We're about to enter the Vasa, and this is a particular time of determining our lives for a future 3 months. None of us know, what that'll be like, if there'll be a fire in the monastery and we'll have to evacuate. We're not, it's just not sure. But if we're kind of working with that uncertainty, and we're working with the potential for there to be something positive, an outcome that's quite positive, from our willingness to let go of this future-seeking desire, then we have the possibility of really gaining in wisdom and understanding, and seeing that actually if we move towards something that's a bit out of our comfort zone, then we allow ourselves a much greater possibility for the decrease in dukkha. So I offer that for some words of reflection.